Hey, Booktube, Sean here, and today I am going to be doing the rapid fire book tag. I was tagged in this by Courtagonist, and I will link her video of this below. And if you've never been to her channel or checked out her videos, you really don't know what you're missing. You need to check her out. She's great. So here we go, the rapid fire book tag, which in my case is probably not going to be so rapid fire because I tend to ramble a little bit if you've never noticed. Okay, questions, and I'm reading these. I'm reading these off of the description in her video, so bear with me. Ebook or physical book? Either. I really don't care. I love holding a physical book, but ebooks are nice too. You can change the font size in them, which is nice for my aging eyes. Paperback or hardback? Trade paperback. I love big floppy trade paperbacks. Online or in-store book shopping? I buy most of my books online. I do like to go to the used bookstore. I get sad when I go to Barnes & Noble anymore, honestly, because sure, I see stuff I like. I see a lot of great stuff, but I can always get it for at least $3 to $4 cheaper on Amazon. So it just makes me sad. Like, I want to support the physical bookstore, but I also want more money in my wallet. Trilogies or series? That's a tough one because I like being able to stay in a world that I like for longer, but you get some of these series that get to 14, 15, 16 books, and I'm at like book 1 or 2. It's very daunting to try and stay with it, where a trilogy, it's 3 and you're done, and then maybe you get another trilogy in that same world. So I wouldn't necessarily call that a series, like say like The Wheel of Time or something, which is like, what, 14, 15 books? Or what's Ellie Modset Jr.'s Recluse series up to now, like 17 books? Something like that? I don't know. But it's daunting. Heroes or villains? I love a well-developed villain. It's got to be well developed. Like, really any character development needs to be done well, but just a good, well-developed villain, nothing beats it. A book you want everyone to read. As much as Great Gatsby is my favorite book, it's not for everyone. The book I want everyone to read is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I absolutely loved that book, and it would be probably a very close second to me as my favorite book. Ready Player One was just outstanding. The Martian by Andy Weir too, but I think most people have read that, honestly. If you haven't, read it. See, I'm already breaking the rules. I went with 2. The last recommend an underrated book. I have a book review of this book on my channel, so if you want to go through the pain of that video, go ahead and check that out. But it's A Crucible of Souls by Mitchell Hogan. It's book 1 of the Sorcery Ascendant sequence. I thought it was really good, and I haven't heard really any talk about it, like, at all. The last book you finished. Last book I finished was The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, the first book of short stories that precede the Witcher series. The last book you bought. See yesterday's Detroit Book Festival book haul. I bought a lot of books, and they're all in that. I'll link that below. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. Another book. Like when you're studying for school, like when I was in school, I have a couple of books open, and you need to save your place but have to go or something. So I take the one, I kind of close them on each other in the spot where I was. So when I went back to studying, they'd both be in the right spot. So yeah, that's the weirdest thing I've used this bookmark as another book. Used books, yes or no? Absolutely. Top 3 favorite genres. This would probably be a very cheaty way to get 5 in, but science fiction, fantasy, mystery, thriller, and horror. Those are my top genres. Borrow or buy. I buy most of my books. I'm not against borrowing at all. I use the library, but As I said in my new to Booktube tag, I don't borrow well. I don't read sometimes in the time frame of a library lend. Lost my spot. Characters or plot? That one's tough. I'm going to say characters, because plot is important, but if you don't have the strong characters, the strong, really well-developed characters, then there's nothing driving the plot. And as an actor, character is paramount to me. When I'm doing a role, I have to know the character beyond the scope of the play. I have to do that work too. I have to create the backstory of that character and how that character got to where he is at in that specific moment, in that specific time frame that the play is in. So I know the work that goes into developing a character. And if you don't, just like in a play, if you don't have a well-developed character, it just falls flat. It can be the best play in the world. And I'm not saying this is the best play in the world, but it's on my mind right now because I watched a video that talked about A Streetcar Named Desire. Streetcar Named Desire. Great, classic Tennessee Williams play. That play goes nowhere if Blanche, Stanley, and Stella are flat characters. That's just how it is. So, characters. Long or short books? Short books help me get more books read, but long books, you get to stay in that world longer. Honestly, I like the in-between. Like, somewhere between 300 and 500 pages is about the perfect length for me, because I do suffer from size intimidation, which I'm trying to overcome because there are a lot of very long books that I want to read. But yeah, I wish medium size was in there, because there's not just long and short, there's that medium size in there, and that's what I prefer. Like that keeps me in the story longer, but doesn't make me go, oh my god, I got 400 pages left. Long or short chapters? Short chapters. Short chapters help drive the story faster, I believe. What I hate most of all is when you have a 30-page chapter and there's not even sectioned off breaks in the chapter. It's just 30 pages, no breaks at all. So if there's gonna be a long chapter, at least have breaks in it, so you have decent stopping points for reading. Like, I'm not gonna always have time to sit and read a 30-page chapter in one sitting. But I feel like, especially with some of the types of books I read, especially in mystery and thriller, short stories really help drive the pace of the story. Short chapters, not short stories. I think I said short stories. I don't know it's been a long day. Name the first 3 books you think of. Underworld by Don DeLillo, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, and Beekeeper's Apprentice by Laurie R. King. Because I just did my book haul video, and 2 of those were in my book haul, and I mentioned the other one. So they're on my mind. Books that make you laugh or cry. John Scalzi's books make me laugh. He has this way of writing sci-fi with a humor attached to it, and every book of his I've read has had laugh out loud moments. And he's not a comedy writer, and he personally is a very funny guy too. Like I've seen him read. I've seen him read twice, and then at a con this year, I got to see him. It was him and Joe Hill together. They each read a section of their book, him Collapsing Empire, and Joe Hill, The Fireman, and they both were just their banter with each other was hilarious. They had a pillow fight. It was great. Scalzi is a hilarious guy, in person and in his writing. The Martian by Andy Weir also made me laugh out loud. That was the humor in that book, and the way Andy Weir put humor into that situation of being stranded on Mars, because that could have been a very dark, bleak situation, and that could have just been a very heavy book, but he handled it with humor, and I thought it was fantastic. Our world or fictional worlds? Fictional worlds. I love all kinds of books, obviously. So I love good books, good literary fiction set in our world. But I think the reason fantasy is one of my favorite genres is it's a way for me to escape our world, especially if I've had a really stressful day, things in life are just beating me down. I can open up a fantasy novel and escape into a whole other world than ours. Same with sci-fi. Audiobooks, yes or no? Absolutely. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? All the time. And actually, I relate this. I know they say never judge a book by its cover, and you miss a lot of good books if you ignore it because it doesn't got a pretty cover. But I relate this. I was a cook, chef for 17 years, so I relate this to culinary arts a little bit. The same as with food. With food, you eat with your eyes first, so the presentation has to be appetizing. With reading, you read with your eyes all the time. I'm not stupid, but you always read with your eyes. But that visual representation on the cover is your first experience with that book. That's the thing that needs to draw you in. If it's not a book that's been recommended to you, you've read about, if you're just in the bookstore looking for books, and you're trying to find something new, something from an author you haven't read before, it's that cover that needs to draw you in first. Just like with a plate of food, it's the presentation of the plate that needs to whet your appetite first and make you hungry. Because if the plate looks like shit, then you're immediately in your head going to think it tastes worse than it possibly does, just by its visual representation. So yes, I judge a book by its cover. I think we all do. I don't think anybody can honestly answer no to this question. In all honesty, I don't think anybody can ever answer no to this question. Even if you do your best not to judge a book by its cover, you've done it, because it's that visual representation. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations. I think a better job can be done with book to TV. I think TV allows you more time to be able to stay truer to the book. A movie has to make shortcuts. It just has to. It has to cut stuff out in order to get it into a 2 to 3 hour time frame. Whereas a TV show can spread out over 10, 13, even 22 episodes and cover an entire book and get most of the material in. They don't ever. They still veer from the book. And in a way, I understand, because it's a different medium, so you have to, you don't have to, but it allows you the opportunity to present things a different way because it is a different medium. Series or standalones? I'm going to say series, because if I really like a world, then I want to be able to spend more time in it. But standalones are nice too. It's nice to be able to just read a book one and done, and you don't have to worry about how many more books of the series you have to catch up on. Anyway, that's it. That's the rapid fire book tag, which I'm looking at my timer right now at 15 minutes and 8 seconds. Is not so rapid fire, but I warned you about that when I started. So, thank you, Courtagonist, for tagging me in this. It was fun. I'm not exactly sure who has done or hasn't done this video yet. I'll tag a couple of people, and if you've already done it, and I probably watched it and just forgot, I'm sorry, but I'll tag Carla at Carla's Book Bits, Beth at Beth Chats Books, and let's say Rachel at The Shades of Orange. I don't know if if you guys do book tags. I think at least 2 of you do. I don't know if I've ever seen Rachel do one, but anyway, that's who I tag. If you like this, give it a like, hit that subscribe button. I may stop saying that because I really don't like saying it. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it like I can't even express. Hit me up on Twitter and Goodreads. I said in my Detroit book haul video that I'm trying to be a little bit more active on Twitter and get more comfortable with that. So hit me up on Twitter, friend me on Goodreads. I love the people who have friended me on Goodreads. I love seeing your updates and communicating with you a little bit on there. So please hit me up on those interweb mediums, and I will see you all in my next video.